All right, I will go ahead and get started. My name is Katie Coleman, and I want to thank the KCA for allowing me to briefly join this session to introduce the Chromophobe and Oncocytic Tumor Alliance, as well as to share a little bit about my story and reasoning behind starting it in the process. Many people who hear my story or have kind of seen it briefly shared in different avenues often think that I have chromophobe kidney cancer because I spend so much of my time advocating and spreading awareness about chromophobe kidney cancer, as well as have started a nonprofit for it. However, I actually have a metastatic oncocytoma. And yes, you did hear that correctly. Although oncocytomas are typically known to be benign, metastatic cases are exceedingly rare. There's single digits reported. Mine, unfortunately, did not catch the benign memo when it spread from my kidney to my liver. There was lots of diagnostics and institutions in between to get to that final diagnosis, which we don't have time to cover in a minute. So we'll give the Cliff Notes version here. So I ended up being diagnosed in December of 2020. I was 29 years old at the time. I had a 12-centimeter tumor on my right kidney and about 15 spots in my liver. I initially started at Huntsman Cancer Institute, made my way down to MD Anderson, and then ultimately to the NIH and the NCI, where I would end up undergoing surgery. But it took us a long process to get there. And initially, when I was diagnosed, my initial diagnosis was a metastatic unclassified oncocytic renal neoplasm, which I dare you to try to learn how to say that as a newly diagnosed patient. But that still didn't give us a whole lot of information to go off of for treatment options. And so due to the rarity of what I had, there weren't a whole lot of options or guidance. I knew that surgery would likely not be an option for me due to the spread to my liver, an opinion I tried to overturn pretty much everywhere I went as I was actively pursuing surgery. So eventually we ended up actually starting me on cabozantinib. And I was on Cabo for about 2.5 months while I continued to pursue other options until the NCI eventually offered me a surgery about 6 months into my diagnosis, where we would do a right nephrectomy, several wedge resections of my liver. We ablated 10 tumors in my liver during that procedure as well. And then 3 months later, we went back and ablated a few more spots that were left behind. That surgery happened in June of 2021, which was the last time I was on systemic treatment. The last procedure I had was in November of 2021, and I currently have no active cancer. So there are a few things that will completely change your motivation and priorities in life, like a cancer diagnosis. And you can pretty much amplify those times 10 when you're given a prognosis that requires you to face your own mortality, as well as to recognize a prognosis that would have likely led to me not standing here today. So the shift in that prognosis and the gratitude that comes from that shift in prognosis is completely indescribable. But there was one thing that I noticed as I began to have that shift in my prognosis, and that was my desire to give back to try to make things better for other patients that came behind me one day who might have a prognosis that was similar to mine. Unfortunately, having a metastatic oncocytoma, there wasn't going to be a whole lot of other patients like me one day. However, early in my diagnosis, as we were still trying to figure out what I had, we thought I might have had chromophobe kidney cancer for a period of time. And during this period of time, I was able to connect with a group of young women who had chromophobe kidney cancer. We all got diagnosed right around the same age, or right around the same time, and we connected through Facebook groups and even through Instagram hashtags on chromophobe kidney cancer, which who knew that existed. And through this group of women, we really built a community, and it was not only a community of support, but it was also a community where we all learned about chromophobe kidney cancer together and about the disease, recognizing the limited treatment options that were available and the limited research. Now, eventually, when I came back is not having chromophobe kidney cancer myself, this group of women, as well as the broader community of chromophobe kidney cancer patients, still welcomed me in as one of their own. Being diagnosed with a rare cancer is isolating, but being diagnosed with an ultra-rare cancer is even more isolating. So the welcome that this group of patients showed me and my gratitude for it could not possibly be understated. And this really represented a group of patients that I felt like needed more of a voice. And so my gratitude for this group of patients, as well as noticing the lack of research for chromophobe kidney cancer, was one of the motivators in me creating the Chromophobe and Oncocytic Tumor Alliance. There's been a lot of movement in chromophobe kidney cancer in the last few years, and that is appreciated and has been moved forward by quite a few people. And I wanted to be able to help contribute and add another voice to that conversation, creating a dedicated resource. So that is why I started the Chromophobe and Oncocytic Tumor Alliance. I started that at the beginning of this year, and I couldn't have been more grateful when the KCA reached out and asked if I wanted to be a part of their affiliate program. Being an affiliate of the KCA allows us to work together to be able to move chromophobe kidney cancer together in a collaborative fashion. It allows us to pair for grant opportunities to be able to fund research, as well as to amplify the reach of information, awareness, and resources for chromophobe kidney cancer, both for patients, physicians, and researchers. I truly believe in their vision of strong alone, unstoppable together, and I couldn't feel luckier to be alongside the other affiliates in the KCA group of affiliates, and I can't wait to see what we can all do collaborating together. So I'm sure I'm over time here, so I appreciate the time, and I will turn it over to our next folks here.